Folks, welcome back. Got an interesting question from a long-term patron here, and I wanted to make a little video on it because I thought it was quite interesting. Dear Soggy Taco Golden L-shaped pretzel tetherball Rudy. They called me that in high school. Will you give me some context or your opinion on the following scenario? If anyone would know this, I think you would have any form of insight for at least the connections you have in the industry for how long you've been in it. The question is, do you have any knowledge about different companies, TCG, CCG companies, being able to influence the quality of a print run of another company or their own or anything like that? For example, MetaZoo, oh boy, thumbs down button. Oh wait, you can't see the thumbs down button. MetaZoo's been putting out a lot of rare promos recently, only a couple hundred copies of each rare promo. While only a few copies of graded PSA 10, most have common issues and print issues and etc. I hear similar things with different promos and different card games. Scratches on the card, centering of the card. In general, back to the original question. Okay. So this patron is tinfoil hatting it up and asking the question is, you would think in an era of 2022, any form of professionally printed card, whether it's a Cardamundi, a Chinese printer, a Rudy printer in his basement, you would think by now they would kind of have all the bugs and quirks worked out where the print runs and the quality of things being manufactured is very consistent. So this guy is asking the question that, can Wizards of the Coast make them print better quality cards? Can MetaZoo yell at their printer to make sure there's not light scratches or centering issues or curling issues? Is there a way for the company to influence the company printing their cards or threaten them or help to, dangle a bribery or extra money to make it better? Is there any form of influence when it comes to the quality of printing? And then, of course, what about, can a company influence or sabotage the quality of printing of another company? For example, if a big company like Papa Hasbro or Pokemon has a competitor, do they have the ability to cause problems of somebody else's print run? So this is a very weird question. On the surface, the simple answer, in my opinion, would be, of course, the answer is yes. There's always going to be some ability for somebody to influence somebody else. That's kind of the generic. The people who work at print factories making sheets of trading cards are regular people. There's nothing in my mind that can't say, I can't fly out to Belgium at some Cardamundi thing, sit out in a parking lot and stake it out, find all the people who work there, kind of get a list of the payroll, see who comes and goes, learns the schedule, and kind of try to follow somebody and find out who the particular guy is who's the head of that shift and follow him and kind of run into him at a restaurant or Walmart. Yes, and try to, befriend one of those people and then try to bribe them with 1 million tacos to, when they print the next Flesh and Blood set, can here's 10 Rolex watches and here's the OnlyFans password to, Rudy's ex-girlfriend. Can, you maybe, when Flesh and Blood has their next set, can you screw it up a little bit? That's kind of what this patron's asking. So on the surface, yes, anything's possible. You cannot say that corporate espionage of any form of shadiness does not go on in a modern, advanced, complicated era of which we're all living in. On the surface, yes, 100% possible. Now, do I actually think Wizards of the Coast is going after another company, or Pokemon's going after this company, or someone over here in Singapore is going after this Chinese company? Do I really think that's going on? Honestly, I don't. Because let's put you and me, let's pretend Rudy, Timmy, Lumberg in the back, and you guys watching. We're all on the board together, okay? Let's say we're on the board, Papa Hasbro's, okay? And we're sitting around, and we know there's a threat of a new card game that's going to take 1% of our market share. Are we going to take time, resources, and engage in behavior that has risk to it? Legal risk? Criminal risk? Civil risk? Are we going to engage in that behavior to try to sabotage an opponent when in reality we could take those resources, remove all the risk, and place that into, maybe coming up with a new idea, a better product, more R&D, more play testing, maybe a new type of card, a new textured card, looking at you quad masters, a new foiling, a new card stock, better quality, better packaging, better development, better art, hiring something. You see what I'm saying? In other words, it's a lot. I always felt the general public has a concept that's a little fuzzy of what really goes on the higher up the ivory tower gets. And while, yes, anything is possible, and all it takes is one really extreme bad Timmy to go the distance and cause a lot of problems. There's no way to discount that. That is a very real, probable, possible thing. But you got to kind of put yourself in the situation of someone in these positions. And most of the people, again, I know there's always that manager and boss. You're like, how did that guy get their job? That dude's an idiot. How is he my boss? How is that guy at corporate level making $500,000 a year? The guy's an idiot. I know. We've all seen it. We've all had managers. There's all been people we've had jobs where we're going, he's the store manager? That's the corporate guy that's visiting us? We've all been there. You know what I'm talking about. Hashtag Lumberg in the comment section. You know you've been there. I'm just saying, for the most part, people, when you crawl up that ladder of a higher socioeconomic class with higher resources, more wealth, different type of thinking than a regular working individual trying to pay their rent and pay the $10 taco and $20 a gallon gas fees. When you surpass that and you focus on different levels of thinking, like these individuals would be at these high levels of companies, their thought process starts to revolve around things that I talk about on this channel, which is going to be conversations on risk management, conversations on probability of losses, conversations of legal, civil, criminal, losses if you take that route. That's why, whenever we try to touch, we try to fondle, we try to discuss the reserve list. Whenever we try to even touch and just poke the reserve list, the bee nest, and everyone just runs out. What? Ban the reserve list! Get the pitchfork! Where's Timmy? I understand how emotional and how passionate people are with the reserve list. But this ties into the same thing. People at that level, even if they could make more money, even if they could sabotage another company's print run, even if they could have a huge influx of short-term gross revenue by reprinting a Black Lotus in every single taco party pack, the people at that level understand the value of long-term. They understand the value of multiple quarters, multiple years of growth, and the value of long-term wealth creation versus a short-term spike. In my opinion, I don't think the reserve list in sabotaging print runs has anything to do with really, whether it would work. If they remove the reserve list, Wizards would probably, I could almost G-word guarantee, which is a dangerous word in finance, G-word guarantee, they would probably have the biggest revenue-generating quarter in the history of Wizards of the Coast. But what happens for the next 7 quarters after that, for the next couple of years? What happens after that? And people at that level have the ability to do that kind of forecasting, or at least I would hope so. And that's the same concept with sabotaging and influence of print runs. So while yes, it's possible to influence to make your cards better or influence to make someone else's cards worse, I don't think that really goes on, because you're engaging in, you're carrying very heavy bags of risk with a potential reward, and that teeter-totter just isn't very attractive. And that's the same thing with the reserve list, where it's like, sure, you can get a big old dopamine hit of gross revenue, record quarter, that's great. Your stock won't even do much, because after that, Wall Street's going to say, wait a minute. Okay, wait a minute. We had just had a record quarter because we destroyed this. What's going to happen the next 2-3 years? The stock would probably go down. Even with a record-shattering Hasbro revenue gross quarter from destroying the reserve list, the stock would probably drop, because Wall Street would immediately forecast and price in that the company has peaked and everything after that is going to be negative growth. That would be a risk-reward type of forecasting that I feel they would discuss. And again, with companies like Magic and Pokemon and all these mainstream companies, they have so much design space. They have so many things they can test. Almost endless amounts of new art style, cards, themes, sets, planes, worlds, things they could go to and develop, if you had a money machine printer that you could always come up with new stuff and endlessly make product and make money, and you have no risk, why would you go into the legal, civil, potential criminal risk side of print run sabotage or trying to make the print run better by using more money? I mean, people are going to complain about the quality of Magic Card string to Pringles. And while you hear that, and we agree with that, I agree with it, it's not going to make any difference. The cards are going to sell. They know it. I know it. In the back of your mind watching this video, you know the new Magic set is going to sell. You know that in 12, 24 months from now, double quad masters is going to go up. You know, Commander Legends 1 is going to be probably $200 plus a box. And yeah, Commander Legends 2 Baldur's Gate is going to go up. Because again, that's just the way the world works. You're going to have short-term volatility in any product. But we all know now no matter how much you love the new Quad Masters, you love the new Baldur's Gate, you hate the new thing, Wizards, you get whatever you feel, the market is going to behave like the market. Which is, and we all know on this channel, short-term collectibles are extremely volatile and unusual. Okay? Stock market, nobody can predict the very next day of exactly where that line's going to bounce around. I don't care how many averages and bowlings and this and that and moving this and that, death cross, resistance and support. I don't give a shit how much you're into that stuff. Nobody can predict short-term market moves. Now, most people can use common sense and say, hey, 20 years from now, the S&P is probably going to be higher than where it is. That's a pretty lower risk, higher probability of coming true. Same thing can be applied with any form of collectible, especially sealed product. Let's end the video on this. Okay, number one, stock market long term, it is what it is. Number two, Baldur's Gate. Who knows what it's going to do tomorrow? Probably going to go to zero. Week after that, maybe it comes back from zero. But you know as well as I do, in 10 years from now, 5 years from now, 3 years from now, 12 months from now, the prices will go up. And we just don't know the exact timing. Timing is the ultimate variable that no one can do, which is why options and derivative traders are insane. And, you know, that's what it is. So then, to swing back to the end of the video here, the print run conversation, yes, I'm sure that somebody could bribe or get bonuses to make print runs better, but you're not looking at it from a corporate standpoint or an owner of a company standpoint, where why should they do that? Why should the company try to reduce someone else's print runs or damage the quality of theirs? Is it really going to make a difference? You got to think differently. So it's an interesting conversation.